Okay, our math learning objective for today is I can understand the comparison between fractions and decimals. What's up? What, honey?
I want to do it.
Oh, you're ready for the next or for the question? All right, so our warm up today, we are going to fill in the missing numerator that makes the statement true. So I have blank 100ths is equal to 1/10. So right now we're just looking at fractions, not decimals. So blank 100ths is equal to 1/10. What? 1/100ths is equal to 1/10? Not quite. Ramaje?
50.
Not quite 50. Think about, okay, so look at 1/10. We know that one. What is the difference? What did you have to multiply 10 by to get 100? 10. So 1 times 10 is 10. Remember, if you're finding equivalent fractions, whatever you multiply by the top, you also have to multiply by the bottom. The numerator and the denominator have to be the same. Okay, so it'd be 10 100ths is equal to 1/10. Let's try this again. If I have 9/10, how many hundredths would that be? Mark? No. So it has to be equivalent. So again, think about the relationship between the denominators, because we have the denominators. We have 10 compared to 100. What would you have to multiply 10 by to get to 100? 10 again. So if I have 9 as my numerator, I would have to multiply that times 10 and then get what? Nope, that's not the answer though. What is the answer that I'm looking for the numerator? You're multiplying by 10, but what is my missing numerator? No. Maddie? 90, right? 9 times 10 is 90. So 90 100ths is equal to 9/10. Let's keep trying it. But this is going to be the flip side. So blank tenths is equal to 40 100ths. So now I'm not multiplying, you're dividing, right? So 100 divided by what gives me 10? 10 again. So 40 divided by 10 is 4, right? So 4/10 is equal to 40 100ths. Good. Okay, let's keep trying it. 20 100ths. Did you? I didn't hear you. You gotta raise your hand. 20 100ths is equal to how many tenths? Riley? Good, 2/10. Good. You guys are understanding it. Good. Warm up is done. Let's go ahead. If it's an emergency, you can go. If you can't, if it's not, you can wait, please. What? Sure. All right, let's go over just some vocabulary. A decimal is part of a whole number. Decimals are less than 1. So think about it again, how when we first started learning about decimals, I gave you guys the examples of using money. Okay, so before, to the left of the decimal place, that's your whole number. That's how many dollars you have. And then to the right after your decimal, that would be your change, right? Your cents. Okay, so here's an example. $4.47. So the 47 cents are the decimals. That's going to be the part to the whole, and it's less than 1. Okay, let's do some practice with this. Decimal place values. So these look a little bit different than your traditional place value. So let's pay attention. To the left of the decimal point, those are the place values that you guys are probably really familiar with, right? We have our ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, 100,000s, millions. So we're all really familiar with that. And then we have a decimal point here by the ones. And to the right of that, again, that would be the decimal. So that's less than one whole. the first decimal to the right, or I'm sorry, the first digit to the right of the decimal is your tenths. Notice the difference with the spelling for between tens and tenths. It has that TH.
Yeah.
So that's gonna, if you see the TH for tenths or hundredths, you guys will know that that is going to be a decimal. It's gonna be less than 1, okay? So tenths place, and that is 8 or 80 because it's in your tens. And then this is where people get a little bit confused. This 7 here is called your hundredths place. Who's? Let him just have his moment, honey. Thank you. Okay, so this one is not your once, but it's your hundredths. Okay. All right, let's do an example with this. And you know what? I guess why do you guys think it would be hundredths instead of ones? Can you guys think about when we first did our decimals a couple weeks ago? The models that we had shown? Does this model here, does this represent tenths or hundredths? And how do you know? Does this model represent tenths or hundredths? And how do you know? Josiah? Tenths. I agree. How do you know that? Because there's 10 lines? Yeah. This model represents tenths because there's 10 lines, right? Just like fractions. It's broken up into 10 equal parts. So this would be considered tenths. So this model here has 2 tenths because 2 parts of the tenths are colored in, okay? So 2 tenths as a fraction form is 2 over 10, as you can see on the board. And this is equivalent to 0.2 or 0.20. Go ahead if it's an emergency. Okay, so 0.2 would be the decimal form of 2 tenths. Let's try this again without having the answer up on the board. What decimal is represented in the model? Let's first put this in fraction form because that's what we're most familiar with. Please stop throwing that, honey. So again, is this going to be, let's figure out how many parts I have to my whole. That's going to be my denominator for my fraction. How many parts do I have here total? Nico? Nope, total parts. Not quite. Zyla? I have 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 10 is going to be my denominator for my fraction. And then what would my numerator be? How many do I have shaded in? Jayla? 5. So my fraction would be 5 tenths. Does anyone want to try turning 5 tenths into a decimal? 5 tenths turned into a decimal. Zoe? What's that? Yeah. Ramajan?
5 and then 0.9.
Not quite. It's not, I think you guys are overthinking it a bit. So just remember, please stop. No, because you're showing me that you can't handle it, honey. So maybe we can try again later. So think about when we first started this lesson, it had the place value. Okay, so pretend I have my decimal point, and then the next place value is my tenths. How many tenths do I have? Nico? So we're doing tenths, right? So not hundreds, but yeah, so I have 5 tenths. So that would just be 0.5, right? Because 5 is my tenths place. And then we have 5 tenths, so it would just be 0.5 for my decimal. Okay, now we are going to determine the mixed number and decimal represented by the model. As you guys can see here, I have a few that are fully shaded in, which means I have some whole numbers. How many whole numbers do I have in this model? Josiah? I have 3, very good. I have 3 that are completely shaded in. So I am going to have 3 wholes. And then how many for my fraction? Is this in tenths or hundreds? Are these tenths or hundreds? How many do I have here? Clark?
10.
Tenths. So I know it's going to be out of tenths. And then how many are shaded in? Go ahead. Do you say 8? Oh, because of the 3 here? So those are going to be actually 3 wholes. So like picture this as 3 whole dollars. Okay, so ignore that right now because we already determined that we have 3 wholes here. I'm just asking here. So it would be 8. Good, 8 tenths. So 3 and 8 tenths. So this, can we put this in? I feel like you guys understand decimals a little bit better when we talk about money.
Yeah.
Okay, so can you guys tell me, if you think about these as dollars and these as cents, each one of them being 10 cents, what do you think my decimal would be? So how many dollars do I have? 3, so it would be 3.8. Good, $3.80. Very good. All right, now we are going to compare decimals using greater than, less than, or equal to. So looking at 2 different decimals and asking ourselves, is this one greater than, less than, or equal to the next one? My first example, I have 0.5 compared to 0.9.
0.5.
What do you think? Is 0.5 less than, greater than, or equal to 0.9? What do we think?
0.9.
Jackson?
So 5 is less than 9.
Very good. The 0.5 is less than 0.9. Very good, Jackson. 5 is less than 9. And if you wanted to draw a model of this, you can see both of these are in the tens place, correct?
Yeah.
Because it's right after the decimal. So if you were to draw a model, you would draw 2 models and breaking it apart in tenths. And then for this one, you would color in or shade in 5 tenths. And for this one, you would shade in 9 tenths. So if you're more of a visual learner, this can give you that good visual model that we can clearly see that 0.5 is less than 0.9. Okay? Very good. What about 6.5 compared to 4.9? 6.5 compared to 4.9. Is it greater than, less than, or equal to? Popsicle sticks?
Yes, that's good.
No, we are not going to shout out, honey. Oh. Zoe. Is 6.5 greater than, less than, or equal to 4.9? Perfect. Thank you so much for your explanation. So yes, 6.5 is greater than 4.9. You guys could have possibly gotten confused with this because you're like, oh, well, we're comparing decimals. So maybe you would look at to the right of the decimal and see that, well, 5 is less than 9. But remember, when you are comparing numbers, you always have to start from the left. So that would actually be before the decimal, right? So we are comparing 6 and 4. Those are different, so we can compare them. And Zoe just told us that 6 is greater than 4. So you stop there. And then here's an example using a model if you would like to see that. Yeah, let's go ahead and, a test for me. No, I'm not going to test you guys on it because I have some homework for you tonight to do. But I'm not going to test you on it because you're going to test on it next week for the M step, and then we got to move on to the next topic. So we've been doing practice with it, but I'm not going to test you. Okay, so let's take a look at a couple of these. Number 1, it gives us just a model. It gives us a model. And are these going to be in your tens place or your hundreds place? And how do you know? Josiah? Not quite for this one, number 1 here. Henry? Tenths, and how do you know that? The shape is broken up into how many equal parts? Total. How many equal parts total is the shape broken up into? 10, right? So I know if my shape is divided into 10 parts, that's going to be my tenths, okay? Do I have any that are completely shaded in?
Yes.
How many? 1. So that's going to be 1 whole. So go ahead and write 1 for 1 whole, and then put your decimal. Now I know that this is in my tenths, so I know that I'm going to fill in a number right after my decimal, because to the right of my decimal is your tenths place. How many tenths do I have in that model? After the 1 whole, how many tenths do I have? Jayla?
4.
4. So your answer is just 1.4. Very good. Let's look at the next model. Is this going to be in tenths or hundredths? And how do you know? Christian? Hundreds. Very good. And how do you know that?
I just know it.
You got it. Just like this. How many parts are equally in the model? Who can help him out? Go ahead.
Because it's different, like how I would do it, it's smaller boxes and it goes up to 100. So
Yes, they're smaller boxes. So this model is divided into 100 equal parts compared to the one before that was only divided into 10 parts, right? So hundredths is when you have 100 different parts in your model. Do I have one that's completely shaded, or do I have any that are completely shaded in here in this model? Yes, I did. I did just give you the answer. You guys show me with your fingers. How many, everyone please. How many, very good. We have 1 completely shaded in. So I'm going to have 1 whole. And now I'm going to look at my decimal. I have another model next to my 1 whole that's not completely shaded in. So that means that it's not 1. Remember, decimals are less than 1. I want you guys to go ahead and count how many we have for our decimal. Hello. Yes. I've never seen her wear glasses. And she's complained about this a few times, so. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, okay, sounds like a plan. Thank you. Bye-bye. All right. Did you guys figure out how many we have? All right. Who haven't I heard from? I love the hands up. Zay, do you think you know?
In that book?
Yep, in this box here.
56.
Good. So 10, 20, 30, 40. Wait, hold on. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60.
Yes, 66.
So I have 6 is in my tens place because there's 60. It's 6 tens. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hundreds. 1.66. Very good. Do you guys have any questions on looking at the models and coming up with the decimal? I feel like you guys are doing really great with this. Let's do a little bit more practice together, and then I'm going to send you off to do some on your own. Number 3, write the fraction or mixed number that is equivalent to each decimal. So now we are writing this in fraction form. My decimal is 0.6. Is 0.6 in my tenths place or my hundredths place? It's 0.6 in my tenths or my hundredths place? Clark? Tenths. Good. So I know that my fraction is going to be out of 10. So 10 is going to be my denominator. Go ahead and write that. And how many tenths do I have? Riley? 6. Good. So it's 6 tenths. See? Not too bad. All right. Let's do number 5. I have 2.44. This one's a little bit different. 2.44. Do we have guesses on this? What do you think, Josiah?
Number 3.
It is in your hundredths because look at, we have ones, we have tenths, and we have hundredths. So my fraction is going to be out of 100, but make sure you leave a little bit of room before you write your fraction. Do I have any whole numbers here? I do. Can you guys show me with your fingers how many whole numbers I have in this? Good. You guys are doing awesome. 2. So 2 wholes. And then Josiah told me that it's going to be, my fraction is out of hundredths. How many hundredths do I have here? So remember, that's going to be to the right of your decimal. To the left of your decimal is whole numbers. To the right is your decimals. There you go. 44. Good. Beautiful. 2 and 44 hundredths. Okay. There's 2 more for you guys to do on your own in a few minutes, but hang tight. What questions do we have about changing decimals to fractions? You have a question? What is it, honey?
So, because I'm looking at right now is I can see that there's some that say that there's 12 and stuff, like, so would that be more than 100 or just 100?
Are you skipping ahead of me?
No, I'm
Boys? I'm not sure exactly what you're asking me. Can I meet with you in a few minutes and we can talk more about it? Okay. Can you wait?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you guys can wait, I'm going to ask that you don't ask me when I'm teaching a lesson. Okay? Because we just did a class bathroom break an hour ago and I've already had about 5 people ask to go to the restroom. All right. Let's continue. Now we're going to do the opposite. Now we have the fraction form and we're changing it from fraction form to decimal form. Okay? I have 2 tenths. Do I have any whole numbers?
No.
I don't have any whole numbers, so if you want, you can put a 0 and then put your decimal. Or you could just, you don't have to put a 0, but it's just a good placeholder for you to know, like, okay, there's no whole numbers. So now I'm going to put my decimal, and now I'm going to put how many I have. Is this out of tenths or hundredths? 2 tenths. Is that tenths or hundredths? Henry? Tenths. And how many tenths do I have? 2. So my answer is just 0.2. 0.2. All right, what about the next one? I have 7 5200ths. Do I have whole numbers at all? Yes. Josiah, how many? How many whole numbers do I have? Not quite. Thank you for trying. Lay? 7. I have 7 whole numbers, so I'm going to put 7 to the left of my decimal because that represents whole numbers. And I'm going to put my decimal point after my 7. All right, 52 hundredths. 52 hundredths. How would I represent that in decimal form? Popsicle sticks?
Wait, are we doing this?
I don't know.
Is it the circles?
7.
Let's go.
Zyla? It's okay. What do you think, honey? Just take a guess. So I have 7 wholes. How many hundredths do I have? Huh? 52?
I think she said 2. She said 52. Oh, I thought she said 2.
It's, yep, 7.52. All right, what questions do we have on changing fractions to decimals? All right, last couple of problems together, and then I'm going to have you guys go off and try it independently. We are going to now compare decimals using greater than, less than, or equal to signs. We actually already did that one. So let's take a look at, let's do 13 and 14 together. Number 13, 0.78 is greater than, less than, or equal to 0.72. You can do it. Raise your hand if you think you know it. Go ahead, Christian. 7/8 is greater than. Very good. Okay, so remember when you are comparing numbers, you always start from the digit to the left. So let's compare. I have a 7 for that digit, for that number, and I have a 7 for this number. Can I compare 7 and 7?
No.
Nope, they're the same. So then you move on to the next digit. I have 8 and 2. Can I compare those? 8 and 2.
Yes.
Yes, because they're different. So Christian just told me that 8 is greater than 2. Okay. Let's do number 14 together. 12.340 compared to 12.34.
I don't.
What do you think, Declan?
12.34
Is
is the greater.
not quite.
Everyone's hand should be up.
Clark? It is equal to. It is equal to.
How?
Because, so again, I have 12 and 12. Those are equal. Can't compare those. Keep moving on. I have 3 and 3. Those are equal. I have 4 and 4. Those are equal. I have 0 and then nothing. Those are equal, right? So that's a trick, a little tricky one. So that is actually equal to each other. All right. The rest of the time is yours, you guys, for independent practice. You guys have similar questions, what we did together, and then just applying that to your independent practice. Now, if you are confused, I am going to ask that you look at the problem. So say you're confused on writing decimals, or I'm sorry, changing fractions to decimals. So you would look at the examples that we did together to help you. And then if you still are stuck, of course, I'll come around and check in with you and try to give you some help. But let's take, what do you guys think, about 10 minutes?
Yeah.
10? Okay, let's try 10. Hey, let's try about 10 minutes and then I will come around to see how we're doing. Go ahead, you guys.